What's up, guys? So I'm gonna do this one from my bedroom. I don't feel like going to the garage, so I'm gonna try to keep a timeline here, but it's not gonna be perfect. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to make certain clarifications, in reference to previous videos. Uh, in my last one, I think I said something like the computer the uh, destroyed the underground. What I mean by that is it exposed everything. So nothing can kind of remain secretive anymore. We any scene that's gaining momentum, we tend to we find out about it online. So it's not really much that's unknown. Today it's hard to have an underground, right? And when you with the internet, I mean, especially with the cell phone, everything's being documented in real time. So, and social media and so on and so on. So anyway, here I am. I'm a raver, and um I'm dancing. I'm doing liquid, but from liquid, I wanted to learn how to pop, and the desire to learn how to pop ultimately brings me back to hip hop. I'm in high school. I'm trying to figure it out on my own, trying to break dance on the, the the area where now there's like pull up bars and shit. I went to Fort Hamilton High School. I didn't actually go, but that's where I was supposed to go. I hung out by the handball courts and when I wasn't at a rave or some shit, because it wasn't only the weekends. It was also there was parties all week. Different times, but different days. But so anyhow, yeah, I'm trying to learn how to pop, and I meet someone named Nestle, and I believe Nestle was from. I think he lived by Marlboro. I don't know if he lived in Marlboro Projects or did he live. He definitely somewhere near there, Marlboro or Coney Island, somewhere around there. Uh, and I met him, and he could actually dance, and he would bring me to Avenue U to meet the people who taught him. So here I go. But before he brought me, I went over there myself. So I used to do this. I used to go to places by myself and like look for people. So here I am. I got the 70-inch pants. I'm looking like a complete fucking whack job. And I'm in what is essentially a mob neighborhood. Avenue U in West 10th, that's where like all the gangsters are, right? Now Bay Ridge is a mafia neighborhood, but it's more so like they own the restaurants there, they own the clubs there. So it's like where they hang out, it's like a nightlife thing. Maybe in the daytime, certain places like that, but Gravesend, that strip, okay, Gravesend, Bath Avenue, Bensonhurst. This is where like they really were. This is where they lived. So so here I am, and I'm walking up to kids that I don't even know these kids, and they're on a stoop, and I'm just like, yo, yo, I'm looking for did I say I think B Boy Form and Definition? I don't know if I used those names or if I was like Carlo and Gennaro. These kids looked at me like I had five, like they like, why are you dressed like that, and how do you have the balls to come over here asking to see like what's going on with this kid? I think they lied to me on purpose and told me like, yo, come back another time or whatever. So I'm not able to fucking meet anybody. I don't think I met them that day. I think I try again another day and I meet them. And ultimately, I start hanging out over there and I start learning how to b-boy. The b-boying will ultimately bring me back to rapping because it's a transition from raving to hip hop. You're getting back into hip hop culture. So the surroundings start to change. Not as I'm kind of getting a little, moving away from the rave scene. I'm going to b-boy events. I'm going to the skate key in the Bronx, and I'm, attending these kind of things. And I think that ultimately that, I come to these kids to learn how to dance. And then I just start rapping one day, and they're like, holy shit. And that introduces them to like something that they've never seen, because they didn't know anybody, they didn't have anyone in their inner circle that was actually nice. So when they meet me, it's kind of like a big deal, and I introduce them to all of my friends. And when they see what that's about. But ultimately, learning how to pop, it brings me back into hip hop, but it brings me into hip hop in a way that I was never involved in it. I'm now in hip hop from the b-boy aspect, and I'm learning about b-boying. A lot of rappers don't really, they don't know that element of it. You know what I'm saying? At best, maybe they know some graph heads. I was a part of the graffiti, but I was toy. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't a real writer, but I went through that phase of bombing and shit like that. So I have a decent, I know New York City graph, but was actually, I have it. I'd say I probably have more knowledge of the b-boy scene than your average, just rapper. Um, you know what I'm saying? So like they might know more, like they might be more knowledgeable on, but actually today's rappers probably don't know about either. But so it brings me back into the feel of hip hop. You understand? Which ultimately connects me, brings me closer to the rhyming element. We're going to events. My crew, the new breed, was hated at these events. B-boy form would show up in the circle, and he would do very, very fast, neat the footwork with style. And at this point in time, everything was about power moves. It was all about windmills and flares and, you know, big moves to make people go, wow. It wasn't about your style. It wasn't about your originality. It wasn't about how neat you were. So he would come into the circle and he would be going off, and the whole place would be against us. Nobody. We were the crew from Brooklyn, and we had our own kind of methodology. Is that the methodology? We had our own ways, right? So uh we were like the black sheep. So the whole goddamn venue would go against us, and this kid had to battle like fucking, I don't know how many people. You know what I'm saying? Literally everybody. You fast forward as time goes on. What eventually happens? The b-boy scene starts to move in that direction, where they start to realize that anybody can practice and get a windmill. Anybody can practice and get flares, but not anybody can have style and originality and rock the beat and have floor work. So, uh, it, that doesn't have, that's a part of my, but I'm just, I'm letting this flow, and I'm just going wherever the story takes me. So with that part, you know what I'm saying? That's where I am. I'm going to these events, and I am getting back into rapping, but I'm more, I feel very hip hop. I feel very much a part of the culture. And it's shortly after that, after my time of hanging out on Avenue U and West 10th, and practicing and becoming a popper and going to these events, and you know what I'm saying, battling and doing what have you with dancing. It was shortly after that that I would start going to open mics by myself. I went to these places. I'd start going to open mics and I'd start entering battles. And I'd start to make a name for myself.